If I could go back in time and give myself one advice, which almost ruined my entire existence for quite some time, which is that stop placing so much importance and value on what people think about you, what they think of you, and what they speak about you. Because people, by nature, are as such. Most people just have it in them to gossip about you. That's it. And there's nothing you can do about it. What that means is that you are around a set of people who no longer add to your life, and you should be stepping away from them. That's what this boils down to. I've spent decades of my life, some of this was also taught by my mother because she was always putting other people first and pushing this toxic value system onto my father his entire life, and then onto her kids, that always please the other person. If you get slapped on one cheek, turn the other cheek, right? These were all imp behaviors with the S, imp behavior systems. And so my entire life, I have struggled to snap out of what other people think of me. And this also boils down to the reason why I have battled anxiety most of my life. And the way you get your power back is in the action, by doing, right? Stepping out of that nonsense, that bullshit. And I know it's easier said than done, but let me share. For the longest time, I have been trapped in my own head. So when they say you got to get out of your own head, we oftentimes are creating barriers for our own selves more than what anyone is doing for us or to us. A lot of times it's you versus you in this regard. I feel like I would have accomplished a lot more had I acquired this mindset that I have today, right? It was a nightmare for some reason to hold a gimbal like this and talk to the camera, knowing quite well that everyone around me will be looking at me and listening to every single word that I'm saying. But that's so far from the truth. What I found is I bring more smile to people's faces, and people will stop me sometimes and be very curious that they know already I'm a YouTuber, but they'll ask me, what am I doing? What am I talking about? They will want my information, right? This can also lead you to your romantic interests, if you know what I mean, right? So these are all networking opportunities, but people are they are more curious about you being able to do this versus the latter. And what is the latter? The latter is you play it safe, lock yourself at home, and find every reason and tell yourself you have this narrative on why you shouldn't do it versus why you should do it. There's a big difference there. And so I have tricked my mind. The way I deal with this and how I eventually overcame it is always do the opposite of what the mind is telling you not to do. Now, stay with me because this can be a little gray, right? You may be like, well, that's stupid. Well, let me explain. Common sense is uncommon. For example, there's a cliff, you have an ocean, your lake. You're not just going to jump that, right? You have to kind of assess the height, the safety, the landing, the rocks, right? And second is, most people don't even know how to jump properly, right? The mechanics of jumping. If your mind is telling you, don't jump, dude, this could be deathly, that's a good decision. Because that's intuition. Now, we're talking about borderline stuff here, right? That could cost you your life or your health. But now, there's another story to share with you, is that I should make a separate video for this, is that I sometimes struggle going out and meeting new people. Social anxiety. All the way till getting ready, putting on nice clothes, smelling good. I know I'm looking the part, dressed to the T, GQ, right? Turning heads and talking to ladies and all that stuff. As many times as I've done this, I still get the nerves and I still get the cold, feeling. Why am I doing this? This is so uncomfortable. My comfort zone, this. I was so better off staying at home with my dog. I don't want to get out. Oh, this show is going on, or you can watch this show or TV. You can sit office studio and do YouTube, blah, blah, blah. So I'm finding all these reasons, but I power through it anyway. I had to literally talk myself out of all these toxic habits of what people would think. And once I actually got to the venue, and this has happened to me in Vegas here just recently too, I had the most wonderful time. People didn't think jack shit about me. If people thought that this is the kind of life I live every single day, that my life is filled with adventure, and that it's easy for me to ask a girl out or pick up on people and or strike up a conversation with strangers. They literally thought this, guys. I mean, isn't this cool? So I sold someone a lie, but then I kid myself. This is my reality. This is the truth, right? This is what happens when you break out of that narrative of what people will think of me. This is how you break out of the narrative of procrastination, and more so break the habit of what people will think of you, right? People have their own set of problems. People don't care. Most likely you'll get people will look at you in passing, but that doesn't mean you occupy so much space in their lives, because people got their own problems and fish to fry. So if I could help you break out of this, you can take a page off of my book that do the opposite. Like, give yourself enough time to get ready to go out, right? Give yourself about 3 hours, 2 hours to get in the zone. Have a drink if you need to, right? And going out alone is very powerful, guys. Going out alone is very powerful. I mean, Keanu Reeves, I think, had a quote that any man that gets sit alone and eat at a restaurant is a dangerous man, right? Why do we need other people's validation to just be completely ourselves? Why do we place so much stock, right? Why do we place so much stock in what other people think? You have achieved so many wonderful things in your life. You have so many accolades, degrees, certifications, qualifications, right? Aren't you on a quest to find your best version? Aren't you on a quest to find how to quit this habit, right? Don't you want to get out and socialize? Don't you want to get out and meet new people? It's fun. This is what we're designed to do as human beings. This is what we're designed to do, but yet we choose the suffering. This is, and I've been guilty of this myself. I have chosen the suffering. You know, it's either that, guys, or you stay in your comfort zone, and this is going to eat you for the rest of your life. I have given so much real estate to people and so much power to people that don't even deserve it, as to what are they thinking about me? How are they judging me? You know, and that's just life. You cannot control that. Human beings, which is why I don't like to be around a lot of people most times, ironically, right, is that human nature can be evil. Human nature can be very toxic. We look at someone, it's very automatic. We come to a judgment and a conclusion of who they could be, who they are, what they're about, but yet we don't know anything about them, right? And but the only way you get out of this spell, this trap, is by really putting yourself out there, guys. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. I'm not a coach, the social aspects of it, but I think I can coach you. I've helped a few guys, even older men, right, to break out of the rut. I've taken them out. Sometimes putting yourself as the wingman and introducing a stranger to a stranger, you know, meaning my boy to a stranger in public and at a bar, creates that social confirmation. Like it's a vibe, right? And then you meet the girl after that. It's all about the girl, isn't it? Like that's what we're chasing, right? I'm being facetious here. At any given night when I've gone out, I've never really placed the importance of going home with a girl, getting a girl's phone number, because I've been in such flow state. When you're in flow state like that, you just don't know what the night brings you, right? So kind of a mixed bag here of what people think of you, because when you go to the grocery store, when you go to the bank, when you go to work, when you go to the post office, when you're crossing the street, when you're walking your dog, whatever you're doing, babysitting, dropping your kids off to daycare, people are always judging you. People will always be talking about you. And that's something you cannot control. So why not shift the focus away from what are they thinking about you and trying to live up to their version of you, you got to take your power back and live your version, your best life, and bring that best version into fruition and serve it forward. Without even making this a game, you can show people who you are by really putting yourself out there. Yes, it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of mental work, right? If you're battling anxiety, I empathize because I know what that feels like. Um, but if you don't put in the work, guys, if you don't try, how do you overcome this, right? How do you overcome this? This is a problem I think a lot of us have, is that we care too much of what other people think of us. And this a lot of this goes back to your childhood, right? Your mom, your mother, your father probably didn't give you a lot of the attention or the time. The emotional needs, the buckets were unfulfilled, right? Most times. I'm not saying that this is the case all the time, but most times. So, you don't need, essentially, you don't need anyone's validation to complete you, to validate your existence, to validate your actions, to validate your dreams. You don't need anyone. I would put the ball back on the other person's court. You know how much power and fulfillment I have garnered when I've gone out and thought to myself, I look so weird right now doing this alone. But in all actuality, I actually went out and made people feel good about themselves. And to find out that they were battling, and some of these people were in a group, some of these people were sitting in a restaurant and struck up a conversation with me, right? So I ended up giving back more. So just when you think you don't have anything left in the tank, you actually have a lot left in the tank to give and share. And that's what makes you valuable. That's what makes you valuable. Stop putting so much stock into what people think of you. That's at every juncture and aspect of your life. This will always exist. And you counter them by being seen. It's okay to be being seen. I mean, I guess the question is, what are you hiding, right? What are you hiding? Why are you so scared? Why do you fear? Why do you fear to be seen? What are you hiding in that sense? All right. I love the overcast. I love this kind of weather. It brings me back to California, like I talked about in one of my videos. It feels like I'm gonna walk to a beach right now. I'm waiting for the ocean, but there's no ocean here. Okay, folks, I'm gonna cut the video here. Hopefully you found some nuggets here that can help you snap out of that procrastination, putting emphasis on other people. You have to look inward, right? And drown out those other noises because they don't matter. What matters is how you show up for yourself, what you're telling yourself, the stories that you're narrating, and you gotta fix that. The biggest killer of dreams is exactly that procrastination and the story you're telling yourself. So you can't be telling yourself the same story over and over again and expecting a different result, okay? Till the next video, Mamba out.